I get a good number of questions on how to ensure a combo is good enough for Pure Platinum, and my ideal response would be something like, please, get good. But I figured an in-depth discussion about getting Pure Platinum is worth doing, so let's break down and closely examine the Pure Platinum medal. At the end of each verse you receive a medal, either stone, bronze, silver, gold, platinum or pure platinum, and your accumulated medals will appear at the end of a chapter in the results screen. These medals are summed together to determine which award you get. The award you get is based on 3 things: total combo, time and damage, and you can receive anything from stone all the way up to platinum in each of these categories. To calculate the medal you get, we're going to have to do a little bit of maths. First, assign each rank as having a value as seen here. To calculate your medal, you sum up the totals, divide by 3 and round to the nearest whole number. So for example, here we have platinum for combo, platinum for time, and silver for damage. So that's 5 plus 5 plus 3. Divide that by 3 and you get 4.3 recurring, which if you round down to the nearest whole number is 4, which is a gold medal. There's one exception to this rule. Platinum in all 3 categories will not get you a platinum medal as you might think, but instead gives the elusive pure platinum. As a side note, calculating your final award works in the same way, except missed verses are given a 0 value, pure platinums are given the value of 6, and you divide your total by however many verses there are.
Bronze award, wow, thank you.
Also, any half to full deaths in your used items will lower your award by 1 rank. Anyway, to get back to the question at hand, how do you get platinum for each category? I'll talk first about time and damage as they're the most basic. The rule for time is the quicker the better. The platinum time rank is generally quite generous throughout the game, so if you're getting anything other than platinum in this category, stop futzing around and kill everything please. Stop using torture attacks so much as well, as they can be quite slow if used repeatedly. Well, this one's obvious, just don't get hit. Like seriously, just don't. If you do get hit, quit out to the main menu and try again. Okay, now that those 2 are out of the way, let's get to the bulk of the video. Combo is a core component of Bayonetta's gameplay and is represented by the combo meter. The combo meter appears on the right hand side of the screen, and it serves as a summary of what you've been doing in a verse. There's 2 parts of the combo meter: the total combo and the combo points you are currently accumulating. Each time you attack, combo points from here get added to your total combo. You can then further break down each part. The total combo having the running amount of combo points and the multiplier, and below that, the kind of combo point, and the amount that particular combo point will add to the running total. Let's take a look at the kind of combo points you can form. Melee is your basic combo type. Whenever you hit an enemy with a melee attack, this is what will appear in the combo meter, although the image will be different depending on the weapon equipped. As a general rule, both punches and kicks are worth 10 points, but some weapons have different combo points for their melee attacks, such as Shiraba, Fire Doga and Saifang. Next we have the barrage type. This is the combo point that will appear when you use combos such as the 5-punch combo, or combos that end in a flurry of kicks. Again, the image can change depending on the weapon used, but they all score the same in the end. Each hit is worth 2 combo points. Shooting the enemy, either by using the dedicated shoot button, or by extending attacks or dodge offsetting with Scar Prefer, etc., will give 1 combo point per bullet hit. The shotguns score differently as they're shooting shells, with each one being worth 10 combo points at close range and 1 combo point otherwise. Wicked Weaves, you know, those great big hands and feet you'll see during combat. Each one is worth 30 combo points. The value of these increases by 15 depending on how many enemies the Wicked Weave hits. So the first time a Wicked Weave hits an enemy, it's worth 30. If that same Wicked Weave hits another enemy, the value of that hit is 30 plus 15 equals 45, and so on and so forth. I'm going to refer to this as the Wicked Weave modifier from now on because I can't seem to find any other mention of this in other combo sources. The Wicked Weave modifier is best seen in the sweeping punch-kick-punch Wicked Weave of Sharaba, or maybe if you're being a little bit naughty and using a well-placed Killball glitch. The highest value I've seen from this is 135, but of course it has the potential to go higher. Also in the same category and scored similarly are charged Durga Bombs and charged Killball shots. This covers everything else. Attacks that cause enemies to hit into one another, deflecting projectiles back at an enemy, a perfect parry, summoned crow feathers, or angel weapons are all examples of what will give this kind of combo point. The amount will vary on the attack, but the point is that these kinds of attacks are very high scoring. The special combo point also has a barrage type, best seen when summoning crow feathers. Torture attacks are worth mentioning because they're worth a lot, 100 combo points simply for executing one. The Mashing X minigame serves to add onto your total as well. The more you mash, obviously, the more combo points you receive, with each mash being worth 5 points. While I personally don't use torture attacks too often, they can be a good way to finish off an enemy which is close to death, to maximise your combo points. Also included in this category are the torture attack barrages, things like the upcut punch attack. This is particularly relevant in a discussion about combo. In order to encourage players to mix up what they're doing, score reduction penalty comes into play. What is it? If you continue to build your combo without using a Wicked Weave or special combo type, barrages don't count by the way, the value of each attack will decrease in value until it hits 1, and this will negatively affect your final combo score. You will continue to earn 1 combo point per hit until you reset the combo, so the lesson here is mix it up and complete your combos. The total combo part of your combo meter has 2 numbers, your total combo points and the multiplier. The multiplier starts at 1 and builds up based on the number of combo points you rack up. While the maximum multiplier looks like it's 9.9, the multiplier can actually go much higher than this. Now I could go in depth with this because there is a technical explanation behind the way in which the multiplier increases, but honestly I don't think anyone really cares because you're actually just playing the game. The important thing to take away from this is that more damage is higher multiplier, that's all you need to know. So for example, angel weapons can give you a crazy silly high multiplier for very little work. I would say the timer is the single cause of many failed pure platinum attempts aside from damage. Once you strike an enemy, a hidden timer starts running. The time limit actually depends on how close you are to the enemy. At close range, the time limit is 3 seconds, otherwise the time limit is 4 seconds. If you fail to land a hit again within the time limit, your combo will break. When this happens, the combo points you accumulated will be calculated and you'll have to start over again with a new combo. At the end of the verse, these totals are added together to give you your final combo score. The timer works hand in hand with the multiplier because the longer you keep your combo going and prevent it from breaking, the higher your multiplier will be, and naturally, one giant score with a big ass multiplier is going to give you a much higher combo score than many little ones with piddly little multipliers. So the main rule of getting a high combo score is to never ever let your combo break. So, knowing this, how do you stop your combo from breaking? There's a few methods at your disposal. The obvious one is to stop dodging around the place and hit some damn angels. Alternatively, you can use the shoot button to keep your combo active. And if you've equipped weapons that fire when dodge offsetting, you can use that as well. Alternatively, if you're far away from an enemy, you can use Umbran Spear to close a distance, or Kolshedra to snare another enemy. You can also effectively freeze the counter by either taunting or charging Sharaba. This can be useful when you're waiting between waves of enemies. Now, there are certain things that will modify the amount of combo points you get. The Wicked Weave modifier is an example of one of them, albeit one which is difficult to pull off and only affects the value of that single Wicked Weave. One of the more reliable ways to modify your combo points is to enrage enemies, either by individually taunting enemies, or by equipping the Gaze of Despair accessory. Attacking enraged enemies will increase your combo by 1.5. So instead of 10 for a punch, for example, this becomes 15, and so on and so forth. Witch Time also gets the combo modifier, 1.5. The exception to this is Jean, who gets double points during Witch Time. Note that combo modifier stacks, so if you combine enraged enemies with Witch Time, you can get a massive difference in your final combo. Let's do a quick little bit of maths just to demonstrate. It should be noted that the Torture Attack combo category is not modified by Witch Time or enraged enemies, not that it should matter because they're already worth a lot by themselves. An exception to the Witch Time modifier is when you use Angel weapons. Instead of increasing your combo by 1.5, it increases the value by 1.6. This does not apply to Jeanne, as she already has a whopping double score modifier during Witch Time. So again, a little bit of maths to demonstrate. So to sum it up, in order to ensure you get the platinum requirement for combo, make sure you try to maximize your combo output as much as possible. That way you never really have to worry about it. Witch Time with enraged enemies with angel weapons equals awesome combo points. Use Jeanne to really ramp it up, and add in Sergei's lover to the mix to really max things out. And never ever let your combo break. Have fun with it, guys.